Everyone is being controlled in one way or another, whether it's by large companies, the government, or any other large organization. They all want you to do as they ask so that they can make a profit. The thing is, most people don't even realize that they're being controlled. These large organizations are clever in the way that they use people's own minds against them. They use a chemical called dopamine to manipulate your actions without you even realizing it. But what they don't want you to know is that you can break free of this. You can take back control of your life by doing this one action. The first thing you have to ask is, well, what is dopamine? Well, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that when released gives you a feeling of pleasure. It is known as the feel-good chemical, and it is released when you do things like eat nice food, have sex, win at a game, or earn money. It does this to make you feel good when you are doing something that will help continue the human species. However, this chemical can also be abused. You can become addicted to dopamine. Humans have now developed ways to release large hits of dopamine extremely quickly by adding things like social media, porn, junk food, and phone games. The problem is that this is a complete overload for your brain. You see, the dopamine levels in your body are supposed to remain stable while creating smooth up and down waves in order to maintain stability. But these other sources of dopamine are immediate spikes to that baseline. Once they hit, your brain has to recalibrate in order to get back to the baseline that it was at before. However, that baseline is now going to be lower because your mind tends to overcalculate it. So now your baseline is going to be lower than when it was stable. This means that natural hits of dopamine will not affect you as much, and doing things that would normally feel good will not feel as good anymore. So the next time that you're faced with an option of choosing something that's dopamine filled or something healthy, your mind is automatically going to gravitate towards the dopamine heavy substance. This action will then be repeated over and over again until it's just a subconscious decision to reach for the substance that will give you the most dopamine. Every time that you choose it, your brain will continue to solidify these neural pathways, and it will become more and more of a habit. This is why sometimes you just suddenly have your phone in your hand and don't even realize how it got there. It's because it's an action that has been drilled into your subconscious. By following this routine, your baseline will continue to go lower and lower, and it will get to a point in which it is the only way to get any dopamine. So, what does this have to do with being controlled? Well, large companies use this chemical in order to get you to take actions that benefit them. They literally have hundreds of people that are dedicated to creating a product that will release absurd amounts of dopamine in your brain. This is why it is so addicting to continue scrolling through Instagram, or why you keep having to go back for a second dessert. They want that automatic decision. They want your phone to be in your hand. They want you to be stuffing your mouth with the food that literally costs them pennies to make. It suddenly becomes an addiction. I know that people jokingly say, oh haha, I'm so addicted to my phone, but the truth is that those people are probably addicted to their phone. It is extremely similar to being addicted to drugs. The difference is that most people know that overusing drugs is bad for them. What people don't know is how much this excess of dopamine will affect your body. There seems to be a correlation between mental health and the absurd amount of dopamine that people are getting nowadays. These dopamine levels are one of the drivers behind anxiety, depression, mood disorders, and attention span issues. So many people are becoming addicted to their phones, or to junk food, or to porn, and it is all just a giant plan that these giant companies are succeeding at. So it is imperative that we take back control and reset our dopamine baseline to its natural order. So how can you reset your dopamine baseline in order to take back control of your life? Well, in order to do this, you have to go through something called a dopamine detox. Now, it's not as scary as it sounds, trust me. A dopamine detox is simply taking away all activities that give you unnatural dopamine and replace it with activities that give you a more natural dopamine. Habits that may be bad for you include scrolling on social media, unintentionally picking up your phone, choosing to play video games over working towards your goals, eating lots of sugar and sweets, constantly inhaling drugs into your body, drinking away your problems, or or laying on the couch and watching TV all day. These are all habits that you would cut out when doing a dopamine detox because they add an excessive amount of dopamine in your body. And by cutting them out, you will be able to reset the baseline for your dopamine. It's sort of how when you're really tired, you can take a nap and wake up feeling refreshed and re-energized. Except in this case, you are letting your mind roam free from the constant stimulants surrounding you. Doing the dopamine detox will probably be a struggle, especially if you have had these bad habits for a long time. But it will only be difficult for a couple days before your body begins to habituate. Then you will start to feel more stable and more in control of your life. However, it's going to be very difficult to maintain this if you just suddenly cut out all the excess dopamine in your body. Remember, the point isn't to get no dopamine, but to replace activities that give you unnatural dopamine with activities that give you more natural forms of dopamine. Activities that add to your life. Think about what you love to do. This can be a creative hobby or some sort of project that you've been working on. And now replace your bad habits with these sorts of activities. Set goals that lead up to something big. Use your time to work on something that you not only enjoy but adds value to your life. The whole point of a dopamine detox is to find and replace energy-consuming activities with other activities that have compounding positive effects over time. This in time will lead to an overall more positive and healthy life. Living an intentional life means to live a life where your actions are yours and no one else's. It means being able to choose your path and to have the option to work towards your dream. It means living a life free of addictions, a life free of people trying to control you. The path to an intentional life is straightforward. Remove your addiction, replace it with activities that are meaningful to you, and have the discipline to maintain this routine. This is the way back to take control of your life. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I regularly practice dopamine detoxing, and I hope you guys can make this a part of your life as well. I will also be planning some group dopamine detoxes in the future, as well as some other activities, which I'm super excited about. So if you would like to join this community that I'm working on building, go ahead and click that subscribe button to get more updates about it in the future. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.